Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of the weird and wild world of corporate disclosures, and boy do we have a treat today with PMGC Holdings Inc. Get ready because this report might just surprise you with what it is trying to tell us or perhaps what it is trying to hide. Before we dive in, if you love getting these nonsense breakdowns of official company reports, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Also, we've got a fantastic community over on Discord where we chat about all things finance and business. The link is in the description below, so come join the conversation. Now, let's dive into this filing from PMGC Holdings Incorporated. This is what they call a Form 8K, which is basically a way for companies to announce big news that isn't part of their regular reporting schedule. Think of it as a public bulletin board for important company updates. The report we're looking at is dated the 17th of December 2025, and it tells us about a couple of important announcements they made around that time. So right off the bat, we see the company name PMGC Holdings Incorporated. This is a Nevada incorporated company, which means it is legally set up in that state. They've got a commission file number 001-41875 and an IRS employer identification number 33 to 2,382,547, which is like their social security number for tax purposes. Now, let's talk about what this company actually does, or at least what it's registered to do. They have common stock, and importantly, it's traded on the Nasdaq Stock Market LLC under the ticker symbol ELAB. This tells us they are a publicly traded company, so their performance and decisions are under the microscope of investors and regulators. Being on Nasdaq means they are aiming for growth and visibility in the public markets. It signifies a certain level of ambition and readiness to engage with a wider investor base. Interestingly, PMGC Holdings Incorporated is identified as an emerging growth company. This is a designation for younger, smaller public companies that get some regulatory relief, allowing them to ease into some of the more stringent reporting requirements. It's like a probationary period for new public companies, giving them a bit more breathing room as they try to establish themselves. They have elected to use extended transition periods for complying with new or revised financial accounting standards. This is common for emerging companies, allowing them to stick with older rules for longer as they get their financial reporting systems fully up to speed. The meat of this particular report, item 7.01, deals with Regulation FD disclosure. Now, Regulation FD, or fair disclosure, is a rule that requires public companies to share important information publicly, not just with a select group of analysts or major shareholders. Think of it as ensuring everyone gets the same information at the same time, preventing unfair advantages. What this section is telling us is that on the 17th of December 2025, PMGC Holdings Incorporated put out a press release, and that press release is included as part of this filing. So it is a way of formally submitting that press release to the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC. Here we see the first key piece of information. A press release was issued on the 17th of December 2025, and it is attached as Exhibit 99.1. This press release is what we need to focus on to understand the why behind this 8K filing. And then there is another announcement just a few days later on the 22nd of December 2025. They issued another press release, Exhibit 99.2. This suggests there might have been some ongoing developments or follow-up news right after the initial announcement. It is common for companies to have a series of announcements following significant events. Finally, we arrive at item 9.01, which is about the exhibits, the actual documents attached to this report. And here we see them listed clearly, Exhibit 99.1. The press release from the 17th of December 2025, and Exhibit 99.2, the press release from the 22nd of December 2025. Crucially, they also include something called the cover page interactive data file formatted in inline XBRL. This is a machine-readable version of the filing meant for easier analysis by computers and financial platforms. It is becoming standard practice and helps in quickly extracting key data points. So what's the story here? This 8K filing isn't about massive financial results or a change in leadership in the traditional sense. Instead, it is about information dissemination. PMGC Holdings Incorporated is using this filing to officially submit 2 press releases to the SEC, ensuring that all investors have access to these announcements simultaneously. The focus here is on transparency and ensuring fair disclosure of material information, the actual content of these press releases, which would be critical to understanding the company's situation, would be found in Exhibits 99.1 and 99.2 that are attached to this filing. Without those exhibits, this 8K is essentially a cover note saying, here is some important information we're sharing with everyone. This type of filing often precedes or follows significant events like mergers, acquisitions, major partnerships, product launches, or important regulatory approvals. The fact that they issued 2 press releases within a week suggests the news itself might have unfolding elements, or that there was a need for clarification or further detail. Looking at this filing, we don't have direct financial numbers to dissect. It is more of a procedural document. However, the context it provides is that PMGC Holdings Inc. is actively communicating with the market and adhering to important disclosure rules, like Regulation FD. For us, it means the real story is likely contained within those press releases, Exhibit 99.1 and 99.2. If those releases detailed new contracts, strategic shifts, or significant market opportunities, that is where the true financial implications would lie. Given that this is an emerging growth company, they are likely focused on building their business and market presence. The strategic importance of these press releases could be to signal growth, innovation, or a pivotal moment in their corporate journey. The dual press release approach could indicate a multi-stage announcement, or that there was new information to share shortly after the initial statement, perhaps responding to market reaction or new developments. Now, let's consider the broader implications PMGC Holdings Inc., as a publicly traded entity on NASDAQ, is in the game of attracting investment capital to fund its growth. Announcing news through press releases that are then filed with the SEC is a standard and crucial part of this process. It builds investor confidence by demonstrating transparency and timely communication. The fact that they are an emerging growth company means investors might be looking for signs of rapid progress and a clear path to profitability. These press releases are likely attempts to paint that picture. What are the potential risks and opportunities implied by this filing? The opportunity lies in whatever positive news is contained in those press releases, perhaps a new technology, a lucrative deal, or expansion into a new market. The risk, however, is that if the press releases signal trouble, unforeseen challenges, or a lack of substance, it could negatively impact investor sentiment. Because we don't have the content of the press releases here, it is hard to give a definitive assessment of the company's direction. But the structure of the filing points to an active company engaged in communicating key developments to the public. In conclusion, this Form 8K from PMGC Holdings Incorporated is primarily about the documentation of important company announcements made via press release. It emphasizes their commitment to fair disclosure and keeping investors informed. The real story and any financial insights would depend entirely on the content of those attached press releases. This filing itself doesn't reveal financial performance, but rather signals that significant news has been shared. What is your take on this type of filing? Do you think companies should always attach their press releases to these initial reports? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you found this breakdown helpful. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more corporate decoding. And don't forget to join our Discord community through the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.